Your 40s are supposed to be your wealth explosion decade. You're finally at your peak earning potential, you've got the experience, the leverage, everything's lining up. But for so many people, it becomes the complete opposite, a decade of totally wasted opportunity. They're earning maybe double what they did in their 30s, but somehow they have less to show for it. How does that even happen? Well, it's a trap I call the 40s wealth killer, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it works, and more importantly, how you can sidestep it completely.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll unpack the central paradox of this decade. Then we're going to look at the absolutely devastating math behind waiting to get serious. We'll pinpoint the 5 biggest wealth killers, dig into the social pressure that fuels them, and then, this is the good part, we'll give you a super simple rule and a concrete action plan to make your 40s the most powerful wealth-building years of your life.
All right, so let's get right to the heart of the problem, the thing that trips almost everyone up. Your 40s are at the exact same time your highest earning decade and your highest spending decade. And for most people, spending wins that fight, completely wiping out the incredible advantage of that bigger paycheck.
I mean, just think about the typical journey, right? In your 30s, things are a little constrained. You've got the starter home, a decent used car, and if you're doing well, you're maybe socking away 10%. Then, bam, your 40s hit. Your income doubles, maybe even triples. And what happens? Everything gets an upgrade. The forever home, 2 shiny new cars in the driveway, those fancy vacations, and suddenly, even with twice the income, your savings rate actually drops. It's wild. That right there is the trap in action.
So why is this such a complete financial disaster? Well, it all comes down to one thing: compound interest. Your 40s are the last, and I mean the last, critical decade where compounding can do the heavy lifting for you. Waiting until your 50s isn't just a small delay, it is a mathematical catastrophe. Let me just show you, because when you see the numbers, it's staggering. Okay, to really see this in action, let's look at a quick story. We're going to follow 2 people. We'll call them Person A and Person B. They both start their 40s in the exact same financial spot. The only difference is what they do with their money over the next 10 years. So, check this out. Both start at age 40 with 200 grand. Person A says no to all the fancy upgrades and just aggressively saves $30,000 a year. Person B, on the other hand, lets lifestyle inflation run wild and only manages to put away $5,000 a year. By age 50, you can see there's a pretty big gap, right? But now, watch what happens by age 65. Thanks to the power of compounding, that gap becomes a massive, life-altering chasm.
Seeing it like this, as a bar chart, really drives the point home, doesn't it? We're not talking about a small difference here. This is a completely different life. Person A's future looks fundamentally different from Person B's, and it's all because of the choices they made in that one single decade.
And here it is, the bottom line. That difference between them is over $1 million, $1.1 million. That is the price tag. That is the cost of letting your lifestyle inflate during your peak earning years. It is, literally, $1 million mistake.
And here's the kicker. You can't make this up later. It's not like you can just save extra hard in your 50s to catch up. Why? Because you've lost the single most valuable asset you have: time. Money you invest in your 40s gets 2 full decades, maybe more, to grow and multiply. You simply cannot get that time back.
So where does all this money actually go? It's usually not one single terrible decision. Instead, it's a series of 5 incredibly common lifestyle inflation triggers that just systematically drain your wealth-building potential during this critical decade. It starts with the bigger, forever home in that better school district. Then comes the 2 new cars because, you deserve it. Then you add in the expensive kids' activities, the upgraded family vacations to make memories, and all those little convenience purchases that just add up and up. Each one feels totally justifiable in the moment, but when you put them all together, they are a financial wrecking ball.
And the potential cost? It's shocking. When you actually calculate the opportunity cost, what that money could have become if you'd invested it instead, these 5 triggers can easily cost you over $2 million in potential retirement wealth. $2 million.
But why is this so incredibly hard to resist? Well, a huge part of it is that the social pressure to spend is at its absolute peak in your 40s. Think about it. In your 20s, everybody's broke together. It's fine. But in your 40s, your peer group starts to split, and it becomes really, really hard not to feel like you're falling behind if you are not keeping up. This right here, this is the mental flip you have to make. Your neighbor's brand new Tesla, and their pictures from a Mediterranean cruise. That's financial performance art. They look rich. You, on the other hand, with your paid-off Honda
and your quietly growing investment portfolio, you are actually becoming rich. They are two completely opposite strategies.
This just hits the nail on the head. There is a huge difference between deserving something and actually being able to afford its real long-term cost. That fancy SUV doesn't just cost 70 grand. Its real cost is the $300,000 it could have turned into by the time you're ready to retire. When you look at it that way, can you really afford it?
Okay, enough of the bad news. How do we actually fight back? How do we win this decade? Well, it comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful strategy I call the income increase rule. This is your simple path to building serious wealth.
The whole idea here is simple, but, well, it's kind of brilliant. You have a plan for any new money before it ever even hits your checking account. This way, you make the smart decision just one time, and then you let automation do all the hard work. It totally removes the temptation to just spend every new dollar that comes in.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. It's so simple. Every single time your income goes up, a raise, a bonus, anything, you automatically send half of that increase, 50%, straight to your investments. Then you take 30% to actually enjoy your success, improve your lifestyle a little bit, and the last 20% covers the higher tax bill and gives you a little buffer. It's a balanced system that's built for winning. So you can see how this works, right? The process couldn't be simpler, but the result is profound. By just consistently applying this one little rule to every raise and bonus you get throughout your 40s, you can easily add an extra $1.5 million or even more to your final net worth. This is how you turn your peak earning years into your peak wealth building years. All right, let's get super practical. Let's make this something you can use like today. Here is a direct, actionable checklist you can use right now to see where you stand and figure out what you need to focus on to lock in your financial future. Okay, this checklist is your roadmap, so let's walk through it. First up, your savings rate. Are you targeting at least 20% of your gross income? Next, housing. Are your costs below 25% of what you make? What about your cars? Is the total value of all your cars less than half your annual income? Are you maxing out your tax-advantaged accounts like your 401k and a Roth IRA? Have you wiped out all of that high-interest consumer debt? The big goal here is to get to a point where your net worth is growing by at least 100 grand every single year. The more of these boxes you can check, the more secure your future is going to be.
And at the end of the day, that's really what this all boils down to. Your 40s are a pivot point. The stakes could not be higher. The financial decisions you make in this one decade will absolutely determine the quality of life you have in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. You either build unstoppable momentum towards financial freedom, or you pretty much lock yourself into working until you physically can't anymore.
So I want to leave you with this one question. It's not about whether you can afford the monthly payment on the new car or the bigger house today. The real question, the one that matters, is this. What is your current lifestyle truly costing your future self? The answer to that? Well, that could change everything for you.